Alrighty, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cryptic Coil, and in today's video, or at least this video, because I already made one today and uploaded it already, but in this specific video, I am going to do another movie review. This is my third movie review on my channel. And the movie that I'm reviewing is a movie from 2014. It's called Starry Eyes, and I'm holding the DVD cover up to the camera. It's not really a camera, it's a phone with a camera. Nevertheless, this is what the cover looks like. Like I said, it's the movie's from 2014. The title of the movie is Starry Eyes, and I let's just jump into this. I'll go ahead and read the synopsis on the back of the DVD cover. This is what the synopsis reads. Determined to make it as an actress in Hollywood, Sarah Walker spends her days working a dead-end job, enduring petty friendships, and going on countless casting calls in hopes of catching her big break. After a series of strange auditions, Sarah lands the leading role in a new film from a mysterious production company. But with this opportunity comes bizarre ramifications that will transform her both mentally and physically into something beautiful and altogether terrifying. From the producer of Cheap Thrills and Jodorowsky's Dune, Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Wildmeyer's Starry Eyes is an occult tale of ambition, possession, and the true cost of fame. So now I'm going to describe the plot a little bit from my perspective in my own words. So let's talk about what genre is this. I would take a cult thriller and or no, not a cult thriller. It's definitely got occult vibes, and it's the movie acknowledges the movie acknowledges a religious horror. Well, it doesn't acknowledge a religious horror. It nods toward religious horror, but it doesn't outright acknowledge it. And so it's a bit Faustian. The way I came across this movie is one of my YouTube subscribers and viewers, YouTube name Son of Yah Chosen One. Horns up to you, dude. Thank you very much for this movie recommendation. It's because of you that I'm doing this movie review. Nevertheless, no, horns up. Nevertheless, it is a bit Faustian because it tells us the tale of a young woman named Sarah Walker who's determined to make it as an actor slash actress in the film industry in Hollywood. And the movie challenges her to see how far she would go to live out her dreams, to obtain her dreams. Would she sell her soul? Would she sell herself? What is she willing to give up? And the movie is actually really ahead of its time because the Me Too movement and the news about Harvey Weinstein broke in the year 2017. This movie is 3 years older than that. So this movie touched on that kind of stuff a couple years before the rest of society became aware of it and began to discuss it before what's historically gone on in Hollywood became part of the social consciousness of society. So I think that was really cool. So Sarah, I'll just describe the plot a little bit. So Sarah, she works at this restaurant. It's kind of like a Hooters in a way, where all the waitresses are, sexy and things like that. And that's what she does to pay the bills. But outside of her day job, she's just determined to make it as an actress. She goes to auditions and casting calls all the time. She ends up going to one casting call, and they're really upfront and honest with her. And they tell her, look, we're trying to see underneath the surface what you have. Are you just another one of the thousands of girls that have come through here that have long since been forgotten? Or do you have that it factor that we need in order to make someone into the next star. Okay, so that part is totally believable, and that explains why some people make it and why some people don't. Okay, very resemblant of the reality that you and I live in. Well, she does her audition, and she actually does a really good job. She gets to display her acting skills, and I thought that she probably nailed her audition as far as I can tell. And at the end of it, they just tell her, okay, well, thank you for coming. You were dismissed. And so she walks away without any assurance that her audition went well. She starts to have some doubts. And before she leaves the building, she goes into the restroom. And she locks herself in a bathroom stall and she throws a fit. She like starts bashing her head against the stall. She starts slamming her purse from one side of the wall to the other. She starts ripping her hair out. She starts screaming obscenities. And it's a really intense scene. Well, unbeknownst to her, the female casting agent, for lack of a better term, there was an older woman who was on the panel, and I think that she was like a casting agent or something. I don't know what jobs these people have. I don't have a whole lot of experience in acting, but unbeknownst to Sarah, that woman happened to be in the restroom, and that woman opens the bathroom stall and says, "You're throwing a fit. Why are you throwing a fit? Come back with me." So Sarah ends up back in the audition room, and they're questioning her about the fit. And Sarah explains, "Look, whenever I get frustrated, I go off in private and I do that. I've done it since I was a child." And they said, "Do it again. Show us." And she was like, what do you mean show you? Like, I've never done that in front of people before. That's something that happens when I'm by myself, when I'm feeling a certain way. And they were like, okay, fine. If you don't want to show us, then you're dismissed. So she throws another fit, except this time she does it differently. She falls on the floor and she starts convulsing. The veins in her neck and chest start to pop out. That part was, pretty cool. I mean, no, it was interesting to see her veins popping out of her neck and out of her chest. But I think that the way she threw that fit, the way she tried to recreate a moment of frustration that she unleashed in private, it didn't quite work the same way in public when it was manufactured. And that part was pretty bizarre. Sorry. That part was pretty bizarre to me. Let me go ahead and take a sip. But as the viewer, the the movie conveyed the idea that it was trying to convey, so I can live with it. It was just a little bit bizarre, and I think that was probably the only, I don't want to call it a bad scene, but kind of awkward scene in the movie. I mean, it was just barely believable, but that was the worst part of the movie, and it didn't last that long. That's like my only criticism there. Anyway, she ends up getting called back later on, and they say, yeah, why don't you go ahead and meet us at this address, and we'll introduce you to the CEO of this movie company. And she says, oh, okay, cool. So she goes there, and of course it's this older man, and he's wearing a suit and tie, and he lives in this beautiful, glorious, luxurious mansion with expensive furniture and decorated with fine taste. And she sits down and she starts talking to him, and he starts telling her, like, yeah, if you play your cards right, you can really be a star in this industry. We can make you into a star. But if that's really your dream, you have to understand that dreams don't come true without some sacrifice. And she's giving him her reassurance, like, oh no, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And he starts to slide his hand up her leg into her skirt. And what I I want to choose my words carefully because 10 years later, we know that stuff just like that happens in the film industry in Hollywood. And I don't want to say I, I caught myself. I was going to say that was cool, but it's not cool. It's not cool because we know that that actually happens. What I meant when I had that initial instinct to say that that was cool was that it's believable because we know that it actually happens. That's I'm just struggling to find the words that I'm struggling to find the words that tell that truth in a palatable way. Anyway, uh, that's about where I'm going to end my description of this movie. My YouTube subscriber, Son of Yah Chosen One, recommended this to me because in one of my most recent videos where I showed off my horror DVD collection, I explained that this was one of the movies that I haven't watched but I do own. He recommended that I watch it because he and I both like another movie called American Satan, which is a retelling of Faust. This movie is also Faustian as well because it really does have to do with someone selling their soul to the devil. Even though the devil isn't a character in this movie, the devil is never really acknowledged, but the occult vibes have you believe that these people are satanic. And with this, with the choices that this woman is presented with, she's not forced to make the choices that she makes throughout this movie, but she's presented with certain choices, and it leads the viewer to subconsciously understand that she's selling her soul to the devil to get to live out her dreams. And so that's where I'm going to end the description of the plot from my perspective because I don't want to give away spoilers because I think that this was a really good movie. I'll just jump into what I liked about the movie. So what I liked about the movie was that it was low budget and it was perfectly executed in my opinion. This movie is not rated. So whenever you watch a horror movie that's not rated, that's an indication, or you know right away. I mean, that's a tell that the movie's going to be a low budget B movie or something. But despite being so low budget, it was crafted with expertise and skill and know-how and competence, and the fact that this movie was so ahead of its time with the exploitative and predatory nature of the film industry. You know that the people who made it and wrote it, they had to have been experienced, and the fact that it was executed as well also goes to show that a lot of experience went into this movie. The gore and the practical effects was just done so well, and I really love the fact that they used makeup and practical effects to make some of the gore and carnage candy that we got in the third act without CGI, because I hate hearing people criticize CGI. It's so annoying. It's like they conveyed. Anyway, I'm not even going to go off on a rant about that. But yeah, really good practical effects and makeup. Good job. The actress is just very, very beautiful. They made her look ugly. They made her look ugly, and with makeup and practical effects, and it was very believable in certain scenes. I also like the way they handled nudity. There was a scene where she got the call back, and she ends up in this room full of these, like, you know, movie executives, and they tell her to strip. They tell her to take off her clothes, bare it all, and she's like, do I have to? And they're like, you want to be a star, don't you? That was a scene from Family Guy with Walt Disney and Minnie Mouse. Anyway, it was just like that. And so she reluctantly and awkwardly takes off her clothes. and they don't show us nudity. And what I really like, because I am not below enjoying some gratuitous nudity in a movie, especially in horror. Look at the Friday the 13th franchise as a good example. What I like about this movie is that they denied us, they deprived us of getting gratuitous nudity. They saved it for later. They gave us nudity, but it was not sexy. I mean, it was it was gross, and it was like sad, and there was no gratuity in it whatsoever. And the fact that they used nudity in a horror movie as something like that, I mean, very well done. Well done. Because usually nudity is kind of like a cheap little Scooby snack that they use in these low budget movies. But this, they deprived us of it when it could have been gratuitous, and then they gave it to us when it was horrific. So, I mean, just very well done. I like that. Um, I like the fact that I didn't know anybody in the cast except for the lead actress, and everyone did a very good job. I like the script. I like the idea behind the script. I like the fact that the movie aged so well because it's relevant to the social conscious of the time that we live in a post Me Too world. And I like the fact that it's low budget, but it was done with such expertise. That gives it a certain charm. Uh, yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that. There's a certain charm in the fact that it was low budget, but it was executed so well. I mean, it's amazing. I am a little bit sad that it took me 10 years to see this movie. The fact that this movie is 10 years old, it's like, I wish I would have had this in my life sooner because it was good and it's very rewatchable. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it my ranking. Okay, so out of 5 stars, how do I rate this movie? Now, this is my third ever movie review, so I'm gonna tell you what my system is on rating movies. If it's a 1 star review, it means it was bad. It was really bad. There was nothing I liked about it. I would not recommend it, and I do not ever care to watch it again. If it's a 2 star movie review, it means it was bad, but it means that there's something positive that I can say about the movie. If it's a 3 star movie review, it means that it really wasn't good, but there was something about it that made it watchable for me and doesn't make me feel like I wasted the evening sitting down to watch a movie. It probably means that it's not going to be rewatchable, but it probably means that I'm not going to be left with this disappointment that I could have watched anything and I ended up watching that. Okay, and then a 4 star movie review means it was actually good and it was rewatchable and I'll recommend it, but I have my criticisms and it wasn't as good as it could have been. Then a 5 star review means that, oh my gosh, they did everything really well and I just don't have anything negative to say about it. Okay, but then I'm willing to put this on the table. Once in a blue moon, I'll issue a 6 star rating, which means that it has everything that a 5 star movie has as far as its execution, and I like everything about it. But there was there was icing on the cake and a cherry on the top. And if you take away that cherry on the top, and if you take away the icing on the cake, it's a 5 star movie. It's just a little bit better. So that's how I rate movies. This is going to be a 5 star movie review, and I think it's awesome the fact that it's an independent movie that debuted at the South by Southwest Film Festival. Time magazine reviewed it, and they said positive things about it. I like the lead actress in this movie. Her name is Alexandra or Alex Essoe. She played Shelley Duvall's character Wendy Torrance in the Doctor Sleep movie that just came out a couple years ago. She was Danny Torrance's mom. I remember when I first saw that movie, I was like, "Oh my gosh, the actress that's playing Wendy Torrance, she looks just like Shelley Duvall." And she looked like Shelley Duvall. She put out the same kind of vibe that Shelley Duvall put out in The Shining. I remember being really blown away with how did they find an actress who can do that, make me believe that they went back in time and brought Shelley Duvall to play in Doctor Sleep all these years later. That was the lead actress. That was the one that played Sarah Walker in Starry Eyes. And she also did some Mike Flanagan stuff. I know that she did like Midnight Mass, which I haven't seen, but that is on her filmography. She also played in something that my audience would find interesting. She played in the Midnight Club. She did the Road to Nowhere episode. She played Poppycorn. So that was, really cool. And another thing that I think is really cool about the leading lady in this movie is that since she played Wendy Torrance, Shelley Duvall has passed away recently. And she, Alex Essoe, sorry for mispronouncing that, she made a post on her Instagram to acknowledge the memory and the legacy of Shelley Duvall, and I thought that was really cool. All right, well, there you have it. That's how I described this movie. I really like the fact that it was, kind of a supernatural thriller. That's the term I was struggling for at the beginning. If you take like supernatural thriller and occult horror and marry the two, that's what kind of movie this is. It's not a slasher, but you got some slasher flavored carnage candy in the third act. There was a kill that I really loved in the third act. I don't want to say too much, but there was a character who was sleeping in their bed and they woke up to something very unpleasant. That's all I'm going to say. So cool, so well done. Very good gore and practical effects in that scene with that kill. And I just think that this movie was really well done, especially when you take into consideration the financial constraints that an independent film like this would have. For an independent film, this movie was just better than it had any right to be. I give it a 5-star review once again. And the cool thing about it is that, it's 10 years old, but it's more relevant to the social consciousness of our society than it was the day it came out. It was ahead of its time in that way. And I don't want to say it's cool because I don't think that what's happened historically in Hollywood is a good thing, but I just think that it's remarkable in a way, That's what I mean. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think of this review, especially if you've seen the movie. I would love to hear from you. Son of Yah, Chosen One, thank you so much for the recommendation, man. I really enjoyed it. The last movie that I watched before I watched Starry Eyes last night was this movie called Slaughter. There's a review that I uploaded right before I started filming this review. I was really hoping that the next movie that I watched was going to leave me feeling satisfied and not disappointed. You did that for me, man. You helped me live that dream. All week long, I've been dreaming of watching another really good movie, something that would leave me feeling satisfied, and thanks to you, I'm living that dream today. All right, well, I'll go ahead and let you go, but thank you so much for watching. Horns up and peace out.